Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make an I-cord which you can use for jewellery and accessories by using a mechanised spool knitter. Now I'm using the one, it's called the Prym, I think this is called the Prym knitter, I think it's called, knitting mill, sorry, the Prym knitting mill, and it looks like this, and you put the little handle on the side and it clicks in. Here we are. And then it will turn the carriage as you knit. Now it also comes with a weight like this, but I find that the weight doesn't hold the yarn very well when you're knitting. So I'm actually going to use a different weight that came with a different knitting mill that I've got, but you could use like a clip or something just to keep the weight of the yarn held down, especially when you're casting on. I'm also going to be using a little hook when I'm casting on. I find it helps when I'm hooking the yarn over the needles, and I have my scissors here as well. So first of all then we're going to cast on. Now for this knitting mill, we need to go up through the centre. It's quite tricky this. Oh, there's a little side piece here and it needs to go up through the side, and then you're going to pop it through the centre of the mill and it will come out at the bottom there. Now the next thing, just make sure that the yarn is going through, there's a groove on the side here and it needs to be centered through the groove and then through the middle. Now I'm going to put my weight on now because it needs to be quite taut when you're casting on. So for this weight, you could use a clip. I'm actually putting it just on the end of my yarn. It's quite thick, it's quite beefy. Okay, so now we're going to cast on, and to do that I'm going to hold, my yarn is quite taut on the side, and I'm going to crank. So I'm going to crank one needle, and then the second needle here, the yarn doesn't need to go under it, it goes over it. It's quite tricky to get this bit. So you need to take it out of the yarn there, of the needle, and then through round the third one, and then take it out of the fourth one, and then you just knit super slowly, and it will begin to take the yarn. Takes a while to get going. Very slowly. Oh, it's going now. So you can see as I'm turning, it's like a little spider's web going on in the centre. I need to be careful at the base here because my working yarn does have a habit of getting caught up with my tail. So I'm just going to try and keep that sort of separate. And as the yarn's coming down, I'm going to move my tail up so it's at the base. Okay, so let's just knit a bit more. It's quite tricky because you've got to try and make sure that all the needles have the yarn all the time and there's, don't miss a stitch. Keep pulling down and eventually it will come out at the bottom. It's very pretty when it does. Mine's a nice multicoloured, it's organic cotton, this one, it's quite nice. Again, keep pulling down, nothing there just yet. It'll take a few rounds for it to start to come through. Clickety clack. I always like to take it nice and slowly. It's just coming out the end now. Let's just pull out a little bit more and you can see what it looks like. Okay, it's got a little bit twisted again. For some reason, the yarn's just sort of getting caught up with the tail. I'm going to again try and keep it away. But you can see, let's just turn it around. There we go, we're there, I think. Keep that well away. Okay, so you can see, there we go, that it's just starting to come through the bottom there. So what I'll do a little bit more, and then I'll show you how to cast off. So I'm just going to keep knitting a bit more. Again, I'm holding it super tight, but not so tight as it obviously it's pulling. That's what you always don't want that to happen. And there it is. There's my I cord. It's quite thin, this cord. So I'll do a bit more, and then I'll cast it off and show you how to cast off. So I'm just going to keep knitting a bit more here, and then I'll come back when I've got to the length I want, and then I'll show you how to cast off. Okay, so I've got to about the length that I want to get to now. It's just a short one to make a little bracelet today. So what I'm going to do now is, this is the scary bit, I'm actually just literally going to cut the end of my yarn. Okay, so I'm going to cut a good 12 inches or so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm literally, let's just make this a bit higher, going to take this out of the yarn guide and then out of the little hook, and I'm going to literally just let the piece of work come off each needle. Okay, and then I'm going to pull very, very gently through the bottom so it all comes out. So now you can see that I've got some live stitches. So there's the first one, and then 2, 3 and 4. So what I'm going to do to finish off is I'm going to thread just a normal metal needle. Just going to do that now. It's always a bit tricky. Let's just try that again. Yes, so there's my needle here, and I'm literally just going to pick up each stitch, and I'm going to just secure them together. So one, this is the trickiest bit. There's probably other ways that you can do it. So there's my second one, there's my third, and then there's my fourth. I'm just going to sew that together. What I could do, I could just sew again just to make sure it's secure, but that doesn't look too bad. I might just secure that one in there. Let's have a look. There we go. Good. So that's one end, and then the other end's obviously where you cast on. So that is how you make a very nice, easy I cord. You just have to remember to keep the tension quite taut, otherwise you'll lose stitches, and then you just have to unravel it and start again. So what I could do now is I could make that into a little bracelet, or I could make it into, I don't know, I could do a bit of knots with it and make it into some sort of pattern. But it just gives you an idea of what you can actually do with a mechanised spool knitter. Hope that's been useful to you, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.